The Cyberdog saying, I heard this stream is where everyone is gifting me 10k in UI store credits. Unfortunately not, but we will take any store credit for the UI store that you want to send us in form of a super chat or anything else of our whatever we accept. So feel free to do that. For those that are just joining now, yes, unfortunately Cody isn't going to be with us this evening. He has been pulled away to work, so he has said he will be here in the next one. You might see a few comments. You might see a few comments from him down. So he is around, but yeah, I guess he's working at this point. Will any? So there's one question. Will any of you guys review, unbox the UI Universal stand? I don't think I have the Universal stand. Do any of you guys have the UI Universal stand?
No, I do not. And I've got all my gremlins worked out, so sorry about that. Thank you, Monty, for talking through that.
There we go. So I guess we are now live across all the channels, which is good.
Yes.
So do you want to? I guess do you want to kick us off, Clay? I have kind of, stolen most of the intro, but you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I think you've said everything we need to say as far as the intro. I mean, obviously, I think pretty much everybody knows all of us at this point. So it's Jesse, who for a little bit of a background story, Jesse covers more tech than just Unify. So Jesse is probably more well-rounded than all of us as a general tech YouTuber. So he covers everything from Google to Unify to everything. He's got Meta glasses on. He's the resident. I cover all the nerd stuff, and we lean on him for that kind of knowledge. He also tests out all Unify stuff. So we're all friends in the background. When we're doing our videos and we get stumped on something, obviously we all call each other. And Jesse is part of the crew. Monty obviously is, and Jesse is in California. I'm in Florida, and Monty is in the UK. Obviously, you guys all know Monty. What?
Somewhere in the UK, just
somewhere in the UK. We're not going to say where he is in the UK. It's top secret. But anyways, obviously, you guys all know Monty.
I would say try and guess where I am in the UK, but I'm scared people will actually go and look for me and find me. I'm sure it's not hard, but I'm sure they probably will.
You don't want that mojo. But yeah. So anyways, as Monty said, Cody is on a job site today. You may have seen some of his social media posts. He is doing a access install, an enterprise access install, and the customer asked him if he could do 6 additional doors today. And instead of redeploying, he said, yeah, I should probably do that while I'm here on site. So he is busy doing the stuff that we all do videos about for real and getting paid to do it. So awesome. And but he's not going to be here today. But we are here to answer your questions. If you have any questions too on any of the different channels that you're on, please put them down in the chat. We'll try and get to everybody's questions. I'm sure obviously you're going to have a couple of questions about the things that everybody's been asking us about lately. And we should cover a little bit of that stuff as well. But anyways, Monty, you have anything you want to cover right off the bat?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's been a little while since actually, when did we do the last one? Probably in November sometime, or very late November. I think it was after Miami. We kind of got together and had a bit of a chat about what happened at the UWC. But it was a busy end of the year, and then it became a very quiet start of the year. So there's been a few releases. There hasn't been too many as to what's been around. So it's been an interesting start. I think the first one is probably the elephant in the room, which even we didn't know right up until it got announced, was when the G6 Pro doorbell was coming. I think we were all just as excited for that to arrive. And yeah, unfortunately, that one has been delayed. So for anybody that doesn't know about it, the G6 Pro doorbell has been delayed, or the G6 Pro entry, should I say, is the right words for it. That one has been delayed until March. That
Not
one
a doorbell.
It's an access device. It's an entry device, I should say. It's not a doorbell. You're right. So yeah, that one's been delayed till March. So unfortunately, we are going to have to wait a little bit longer for that one.
And that's a DDR RAM, a RAM issue, a sourcing a RAM issue. I think they're having there, which
Yeah.
uh, having been, obviously I run an MSP, and having been through 2025, 2026 so far, I just hope that that's not a harbinger of issues to come. Ubiquiti in general has been pretty immune to shortages of RAM per se, or RAM price increases. Let me say it that way. For us that are sourcing PCs and servers, um, the pricing has been crazy, and not only is the pricing been crazy, just not sources at all. Like you just can't find anybody to source certain things. So Ubiquiti's been pretty immune to that. They've also been pretty immune. I mean, there are some tariffs on some devices, but just across the board, they've been pretty good to that. But I am concerned, if for us, we're letting our clients know it doesn't look like there's any resolution to that RAM issue in 2026, and probably not in 2027 issue either, just because we're still having people pulling out of that market. Producers pulling out of that market, and not anybody building. And so, I mean, that can change obviously with with some policy change, and or China decides to start getting in that game or whatever. But it does scare me a little bit. What say you guys?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one that, like I said, we haven't seen much of it up until now, and I think as much as I wouldn't want this to happen, I don't think this is going to be the last product that's going to get affected. I think there might be a
Mhm.
few more that might happen, but hopefully, fingers crossed, they find another vendor or something else that they can utilize, or someone else that they can work with, which is going to be reliable long-term partner and not just jump to. I don't blame some of these companies jumping to the AI bubble. I mean, they're paying over the odds for the products, so I don't. Yeah, I don't really blame them. But hopefully, we don't see much of an impact with other stuff. But yeah, we can only see what comes, right? So one
Yeah,
step at a time, or one day at a time, I guess.
and the flip side, and you don't see Ubiquity doing this very much, or Apple for that matter, is raising prices. That's the other thing is, okay, you can't find a quality provider of this device at, it was, let's just say it was $200, but I can find one now if we go to 229 on it. And I wonder, I wonder if they ever, it hasn't been their tactic at all, in the past, but, is that necessary? All of my other providers, Dell, Lenovo, all those ones on the computer side of it, they just had to raise prices, and that's just the way it's gone.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I think
And
that there's two things here with Ubiquiti. I hope everybody can hear me here. One is
Yeah, we
that
can.
if you remember during COVID, and I don't know how well or how much Ubiquiti did this, a lot of suppliers started stockpiling the certain chips that they needed. So if Ubiquiti, for example, doesn't have the capacity to build as many of the devices at once, they can at least stockpile the chips because they only get that opportunity to make that order at the time they get it. So they'll do a bigger order up front, stockpile the chips, and then be able to continue the supply. But that takes time. You got to get in line. You got to pay sometimes, prioritize in order to jump the line. That's number one. Hopefully, we'll see that happening again. I don't know, any inside information into their manufacturing supply chain. If they want to fly me out and have me do a video on it, I'd be happy to. However, I think that's unlikely. The other thing that I think also is going to impact that in the next couple of years is that there are companies now that are spinning up new fabrications and new plants to be able to produce more of these things because this isn't going away. Google just said that there's going to spend something like $158 billion on capex, data
Yep.
center buildouts and buying all this stuff in this year alone. So,
Yep.
and they're not the only ones. Meta and Microsoft, Amazon, they're all going to match them. OpenAI as well. So this is not slowing down, despite reports to the contrary, and it's only going to continue. And in order to be able to sustain that, you need more plants set up and shipping as fast as possible.
Yep. Well, it'd be interesting to see, and we don't have any intel into that side of things, but one thing that we do all hear, all three of us and Cody as well, hear all the time is about keeping things in stock. And there's a lot of opposing forces here. Where something's got to give somewhere, right? And so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next year. I mean, as a home labber, um, Ubiquiti has been one of the few bright spots in home labbing over the last 12 months. If you're going to build your own PC right now or servers or compute or whatever, it's really difficult to justify the prices of things right now. So we'll have to see how it plays out.
I think one of the guys in the comments has sort of said Apple RAM price upgrades or Apple RAM price upgrades look quite reasonable now, considering the prices they are. So
100%. Yeah, everybody did that. Guess Apple gave a bunch of creators the three $10,000 machines, and I was thinking to myself that $10,000 machine seems almost like a deal now. I mean, that's
that's a
nerd talk
retirement
there,
package right
nerd
there.
adjustment. But yeah, it was $10,000 a year ago, and it's $10,000 now, and it might be $10,000 to make your own. It's comparable. So
Did you
yeah,
see Jeff Geerling's video where he had to pack them up and return them?
yeah, yes,
All
yeah,
those
Oh,
went back
did they
to
have to send
Apple.
them back?
So Apple's not letting. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, interesting. I
Well,
didn't
they
see
weren't
that.
going to
No.
give, they weren't going to give $40,000 worth of good computers to everybody, but I think that was always in the cards. But still, that those machines are pretty. They're looking a lot. Apple stuff and Ubiquiti stuff is looking more appealing versus building your own at this point because they haven't had to go to raising prices. But something's going to have to give somewhere along the line. Either there's going to be less stock or stuff's expensive, or like they're doing with the door with the entry, that they're gonna have to delay it until they find a better source.
So I'm just gonna jump into some of the questions because there are a few that have come through. So we'll try and
Sure.
answer a few of them. So, I mean, I can give my take, and then I guess you can give your take on what it is. So one of the questions is, um, I guess it's the unknown, but it's more about what's available. So, are there any new 2.5 or 10 gig rack mountable switches coming soon, as far as you know? So, none of us know really what's coming generally, when the products are coming. We've seen the roadmaps of what we see at UWC. There's obviously not too much that we can say on the UWC side, but I will say that I haven't seen anything in terms of switches. But the lineup that Ubiquiti have at the moment, I would say there's quite a comprehensive lineup of 2.5 and 10 gig switches. Definitely the 10 gig. I mean, the new Pro XG range has quite a bit in there for 10 gig. The 2.5 gig, you have the Pro Max versions and you have the Pro HD version. So I think there's a reasonable amount in there. I can't, well, this is just my opinion. I can't see them expanding that much more, but I've said that before multiple times and I've been proved wrong, but I don't know what your thoughts are.
There's two that I'm excited about that are you can see on store.ui. It's the stackable enterprise campus switches. I'm dying to get my hands on a couple of those. Those are multiple $1,000 switches. Most people aren't talking about those ones, but those ones we do know are coming, and we are excited to take a look at it. I wasn't at the World Conference, but was there's some audio stuff that I have not seen. Was there any switches in the audio stuff that they did it?
So they've kind of showcased the Pro AV stuff, right? So
That's
we
what I'm
saw
talking
that.
about. The
Yeah,
Pro AV.
we saw
That's
that
right.
at Cydia. There
Yeah.
was the Pro AV stuff that's coming, but yeah, I wouldn't really class that as a normal. Well, it is a
Yeah.
normal 2.5 10 gig switch, but it's obviously more designed from the Pro AV side.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's thin pickings right now as far as new switches on the horizon. I don't know of any other than the stackables, which I'm dying to do. We're doing a data center, redoing our data center, and I'd love to put a couple of those in my data center. So I've been eyeballing those and waiting for it to see an updated release date on those. But that's really it. And as you said, Monty, I think you're dead on. Right now, I don't see that there is a big um, there's a big gap. The one thing that I would like to see is maybe a an ag switch between, and I said this in one of my latest videos where I was doing something or other, but on the aggregation switches right now, I really like that 25 gig aggregation switch, but it's the Pro XG aggregation, but it's 2400, and then going down from there, it's 899 to the high capacity. I think the original ag switch, the USW aggregation, which is a great switch. I think that was a lot of people's first step into 10 gig. Um, but that's 5 or 6 years old now. I'd love to see something in that, 250 to $500 range, where people could get a really high end ag switch with maybe a couple ports of 25 and a couple ports, maybe 8 ports of 10, or whatever, to replace that switch, and maybe more ports, maybe 16 ports of 10, something like that in that aggregation area. Because I find that most people that are home labbing, and I think that that's probably the majority of people that are on this call, um, you maybe have a server that's got 10 gig, you got a switch that's capable of doing 10 gig, and you got, your computer capable of doing things. You don't need necessarily 24 ports of 10 gig, but you need like an ag switch where you're going to get high capacity through a little bit, in 8 to 16 ports, and they don't really have something right now at the low end of the price range for that.
Yeah, definitely agree that a small little, I guess, even if it's a compact, like a 12 port, 25 gig, 10 gig mix that can do
Yep.
layer three. I think
Yeah.
that's a key bit there. We
Right.
need it to do
Exactly.
layer three.
Exactly. It's the stuff that you see. People are do a lot of the Microtik and other brands. They just have like a little ag switch that's got 10, 12, 16 ports on it, that's capable of that high throughput. That's not the $1,000 switch. It's the you know $500 switch or less.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, just one. I've just got a few people asking about the UWC. So, sorry, I'm just going to mention a quick mention of the UWC. So, there is a few shows happening in Europe around the 20-ish mark around April time. I'm just literally pulling it up so I can give you the exact dates. But events.ui.com, you can quickly go to there to have a look. 21st of April is in London, and yes, I will be there. So hopefully I'll get to meet some of you guys again that are going to be going. 22nd of April is Paris, and then 23rd of April is Munich. No doubt they're definitely going to be doing one stateside. I just don't know what that looks like just yet. I'm sure they'll release the dates maybe, I don't know, maybe later this year. I don't know if they're going to do anything mid-year this year or just wait till the end of the year. But I'm sure, no doubt, the guys on the other side of the pond are definitely going to be wanting to go to there, wherever that might be.
Most definitely.
Yeah, Monty is the unicorn among us, attending both the American one and the London one. I gotta say, I'm a little jealous.
That's dedication. That's
That's
dedication.
the commitment. That's the commitment I have. It's good fun, actually, to be fair. And the good thing is like they were 6 months apart almost, so it's not repeated. So the stuff that I heard in London,
Yeah.
it wasn't the stuff that I heard in the US. Like there was a slight overlap, but maybe that might have been like 10% maybe. I don't think there was. The majority of the stuff that they announced in London has been released. So I still think there's a couple of items that they haven't, but yeah, we won't say what they are just yet.
Can you steal that multi-sensor for me?
I'm still waiting to get there. That I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to that one. So I'm hoping that checks a lot of boxes.
I'm about
That
to do
multi-sensor
my.
is gonna go perfect on your driveway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for
I
sure.
definitely, I definitely will be putting it up for sure. Monty's house is more guarded than Fort Knox.
Yeah, I think if
You
I,
should see mine.
Yeah.
especially when I'm doing my testing, I've got like I think at one point I had like 6 or 7 cameras at the front of my house, and I think the neighbors must have thought either I'm very paranoid or there's like something really dodgy going on there.
I know I'm dying. The reason I'm dying for the multi-sensor, other than I really want the multi-sensors, I'm doing my 2026 every camera compared video, which is a big pain in the
Yeah,
butt. There's currently 25 cameras, right? So managing 25 cameras in a test situation where you can actually, obviously there's the specialty cameras and you get those off to the side, but like there are 12 cameras, that interior cameras, and there's 12 exterior cameras, and getting them in a spot where they all, well, Monty, just getting a test board up and all that stuff is a big pain in the butt. And so I'm dying for the multi-sensor to come out so I can have that in this video, but If it doesn't come out before, I mean, it's supposed to come out this month, but if it doesn't come out this month, the video will go on without it.
But I think what a lot of people don't actually realize is the actually the amount of work that goes into these
Oh,
videos. So
it's crazy.
and it's not when people say, "Oh, not that it not that it hurts," but when they're like, "Oh, you've missed this, you missed this," and they don't see like the 50 or 60 hours you've put in to already get this video together, and you're like, "Okay, fine, I'll try and remember that one in the next one." It's when
What
you're comparing so many cameras, it's a bit more difficult to just be able to, remember every single aspect that you need to cover, especially when there's that many.
Well, and things just go wrong, right? Like people don't realize like to. It looks like Monty went out there one night and everything just went, swimmingly well. But you walk out there and something doesn't work, or you walk out there and it's raining and you can't do, or. So to do I do inside and outside, same as you do, inside and outside, day and night. That may take me 4 or 5 nights, or 4 or 5 days to do that. Or I get out there and start the comparison, and there's an anomaly, and I've got to test it, or I've got to ask Ubiquiti, hey, this is doing this, so I had expected to do that. Am I wrong? And so often those take. I
They
mean,
take
with
a while.
all cameras compared, it will take me 2 weeks to get that from
I think the
beginning to
big
end.
one for me is when I've done some testing and either I've forgotten to check and verify and be 100% sure that there's some sort of firmware update or some firmware update happens overnight, and I'm like, right, is this going to change the outcome of what we
That's right.
what I found out so far? So then we've got to do some testing all over again.
For cameras, 9 times out of 10 for me, it's mounting and environmental variables. I forgot to turn the IR off on the camera that's across the way, or I mounted it too close to the soffit and it's got a glow on it, or just dumb stuff. And then you scrap that whole day's worth of work and you go back and do it again the next night. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah, it's it's not easy, but it is fun. I remember. I know you don't do too much around the access points because obviously it's very location dependent. But even when I do the access point ones, they're like, "Oh, but you've done this or you haven't done this," and it just takes time because you think if you've
Yeah,
got 10 or 15 access points, you're testing all of them across the different spectrums, across the different in different areas of the location to get your speed ratings, and you have to do it 2 or 3 times to make sure you get an average. Yeah, so it adds up. That's for sure.
I will tell you too, and I don't like wireless access point reviews in general, but slowly but surely that is getting to be less and less of a dark art, and it's starting to get more and more scientific. Like I do them begrudgingly when a new technology comes out, like the XGS. Like that's one of my favorite uh, WAPs, and the E7 for that matter. Those were a generational jump. So I wanted to cover them just because they were a generational jump, and the new heat sink and everything was neat. It increased in throughput, but the XGS in particular with the extra radios, I've got a dentist office in downtown Jacksonville, and the density of Wi-Fi is just insane. And they outgrew their space, and they rented an office on the other side of the building, and like, can we? And the landlord will not let us cut a hole anywhere and go in the basement and run a cable, so we had to do it with Wi-Fi. We've struggled with that office for years. I got that XGS, put it in the middle of there, and now every time the environment changes, I know exactly what's going on. And with Wi-Fi, man, and even the what was the latest one in the latest release? Is Wi-Fi Doctor or whatever it's called. Um, and then you got the roaming tool in the latest release of 10 as well. It's starting to get where you're starting to there is more to talk about than just, hey, let's get the biggest baddest WAP you can get and put it in the middle and give everybody a suntan. It's starting to be where you really actually are having some real data without having to go out and buy a $4,000 survey tool.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. They're making it a lot easier, right? Because like you've mentioned, the tools that are out there now, it just makes it a lot easier in terms of how you can set things up and how easily you can find the information it's not, like I said, a dark art, right? It's not, you don't have to hire someone in to get them to do a full survey. You can have a quick look at a few dashboards and be like, okay, this AP here, especially even just on the dashboard, you have the AP density.
Yep.
And you can just see right there that, okay, this is more towards that side. Okay, I need to get something in this location to give there a bit more of a boost in that area. And even with things like channel AI, right, you don't need to worry about the overlapping channels. It just does it for you.
Right.
In a way, it's kind of putting us out of a job. But I mean, there is obviously still, I'm not saying everybody can just go out and deploy Wi-Fi. There is still some element to it. But yeah, it just makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, and it makes it easier for me to review it because it used to be like, hey, I can tell you all about this, but when you go to your house and you turn it on, or your office and turn it on, it's going to be a totally different experience. Now, with the tools that are there, there's stuff for us to cover in those reviews and say, hey, you can do this, you can do that, and somebody just put in my chat that they put in five U7s in U7 Enterprises in a hockey rink, and like, yeah, that's going to kick ass, right? And the ability to to manage that in a way that the customer is not going to come back at you and go, well, you'll know if it's failing. You'll know what the weak link is now. And 3 or 4 years ago, that was really difficult to do. That was really, with any devices. I think Unify has really done a great job of, or Ubiquiti has done a really good job of updating the tools and the management. And yeah, it does put us out of a job a little bit, but it also makes it easier for us to manage the people that want us to manage their IT.
Yeah, there's two sides, right? It's either going to put us out of a job, but ultimately there are some businesses that, or they just don't have the time, or they don't have the know-how, or they just don't want to know how. They just want someone to do it for them. So
Right.
it's never going to completely put you out of a job. But yeah, for people that may be starting up, they know a little bit more of what they're doing. They can go out and just do this stuff, and it just makes life a little bit easier.
And having the AI just turn on by default, like, that just, yeah, just, it does
Yeah,
great.
definitely. I'm just having a quick look to see if there was anything else. I did see one. I did see another question. I'm just trying to find it. So generally,
Uh,
when I do my streams, I have my questions on the side, but that tracks it for me in terms of what I've read and what I haven't. At the moment, I'm using the YouTube ones. I'm like, I don't. I'm trying to find exactly where I am. Um,
I got a
so
question that I think is pretty cool, and I need to find this guy's site. Cody actually turned me on to him. I said, "What do you guys think about prospects for Unify Access leaning further into residential form factors? Having door locks and garage door openers would be really nice." And there is a young guy that is doing like a series of residential, like he's got a sliding door lock. He's got
yeah,
just some really cool, like he's thinking outside of the box and using third party locks and triggers, push to exit buttons with access. And I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. This is really, really cool. I do think um, uh, that Unify is going, or that Ubiquiti is going to get more into the home game. I think that makes a lot more sense. You see with the entry stuff, you see with the light stuff, which is meant to be like, I have got this door here or this door there. Um, I think that there is going to be more stuff, more home automation stuff. I see, the SuperLink stuff coming in. There's an ecosystem there, that you're going to be able to use integrated in with Home Assistant or other third party stuff that I see coming uh, the down the
I
is that
found the
the
guy. I found the guy's channel.
is it off the
So
off the, off the
I'm going to post it in a few of the chat windows. So the guy's channel's called Off the Chip.
off the chip? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks. Adam, guy in my chat mentioned it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I've seen some of his stuff, but yeah, I agree with you. So the residential stuff, he's doing a really good job in terms of, and he's going through the full process, right? How he runs the cables, how he gets done. Now, for us on this side of the pond, it's a little bit easier looking at you guys when most of it's made out of wood, you can just drill down and get to it. When it's made out of brick or block, or there isn't a stud wall there, then it gets a bit more difficult. But yeah, I mean, he's doing a really good job, and those locks, they sit cleanly. The finishing of his work is really good. So
Yeah.
if you haven't checked it out, it's definitely worth having a look at.
I will second what you're saying there, Monty. Uh, is for our MSP, we do mainly dental, and dental offices in the states are often in old residential houses that they've converted to offices. And so I've had 30 years of fighting with the impossible installation of wires. Um, so that is one of that's the biggest challenge in residential stuff is when we go into commercial buildings, there's hung ceilings and there's the walls are generally made for to be modular and for people to come in and do changes to the interior structure over time, meaning the trades like us. In a house, they don't necessarily build it with that same modularity in mind. So getting from one side of your house to another side of the house with the wires to do access, or just try and get into a door jamb, right? Like that's there's the double jacks there, and there's a header, and like you may fight all day long, and then still have to do some drywall fixing to get to those areas. The ones that he did there, those particular ones were relatively easy because he had a basement to get to the sliding glass door, and your mileage may vary. Is my point there, and um, but yes, I do think that Ubiquiti is going to get more in that space. I think that you're going to see more and more home stuff from Ubiquiti in the not too distant future. And I think Superlink is their first step in that direction. I think they're looking at having a full ecosystem that it all you protect your access, your Superlink Connect stuff is all going to be in the same spot.
Yeah, and I think also they're trying to find that balance, right? Because there's always that bit for commercial and there's that bit for residential, and I think they're trying to, well, from an outside lens looking in, it looks like they're trying to find that balance between the two. There is going to be some elements where you're thinking, well, this isn't very residential, or this isn't very commercial, but not everything is designed for what you think it's going to be intended to be designed for. There's going to be use cases for some products. There's going to be use cases for other products. It's just the way it is. For a lot of people, they'll be wondering. I mean, some of the questions I seen, like I'm talking a little while back, when the Pro Max switches came out, is well, why is there a mix of ports? I mean, well, in some instances, that's useful for some people. Not everybody has 2.5 gig to every single device. I might have some cameras which only have a gigabit, even though they don't need a gigabit. Like, it's just some things like that. Like, it's not necessarily because it doesn't fit your use case, doesn't necessarily mean it's not useful for other people or other use cases.
That's right. And I think there's been over the years, I think there's been a lot of maybe confusion. They'll do something in residential, and the people in the enterprise space will get mad, and they'll do stuff in the enterprise space. But I think they've made, as much as we like to make fun of the names that they make, and that they have too many names. I think they're starting to you're starting to see the vision of, you're going to have some ultra stuff, which is the ultra on the least expensive side. You're going to have some enterprise stuff on the most expensive side, and you're going to go down. From that, you're going to go to XG. You're going to go to Max. You're going to go, and you can kind of go through those tiers, and everything may not be applicable in every space, but I see some of that Superlink stuff, and I say, man, that would work at home. That would work at the office. And I think their vision, to me at least, is a little bit more clear than it was 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think they're starting to sort of not standardize their naming conventions, but they're starting to kind of keep in those areas, right? So I think that once they're stuck with the naming convention, I might be eating my own words very soon, but they kind of stick in that area of what it is. There is one thing I've just seen in my chat window. So Terry said, Did you guys see an Elgato employee is developing a plugin for Stream Deck for Unify Network?" So I haven't seen that, and I would be very interested in seeing on what that's all about. But I don't know if either of you have heard
I
anything.
have not. I got a guy. I have not. But what I will say, and this is pretty cool. I've seen, and I've got no inside knowledge here, but I think that Ubiquiti is pretty open to working with third parties, and I think that their roadmap is to have third party integrations where a company like Elgato in Unify, I think, or Ubiquiti, I think that there's some synergy there that they would lean into. Home Assistant stuff, I think there's some synergy there that they're going to lean into. I don't see them being protective of the ecosystem. I see them as being pretty open. Obviously, they have to be a little guarded because they want to make sure everything works. Um, but I don't see that they would be fighting that going forward. And I have no inside knowledge on that, but um, yeah.
Yeah, and I think
I agree with you,
that.
Clay, and
Go on, Jesse.
sorry, I was going to say that I
No,
agree, and I think that with as we see more of the API being unlocked and opened up for folks to be able to work with, we're going to see a lot
Yeah.
more integrations like these. And I agree, Home Assistant and whatever open enterprise stack you want to work with for automation is going to be increasingly important.
Yep. And that leads me right into fabrics, where you can see that whole API section of fabrics. Like they're going to lean into on the enterprise and in the home side of being able to use your stuff wherever it's appropriate. And I've been doing this in anticipation of the Superlink stuff coming out. I did deep dive into Zigbee to MQTT and a bunch of these products and I have them working in harmony. I have some of the Superlink stuff working in Home Assistant with Zigbee to MQTT stuff or Zigbee stuff, and I think that's the way. I think that they're cool with that. I don't think that they're fighting that. I think they want that. So. Um,
so I'm just scrolling through some of the questions to see if there's anything else that we can answer.
And
Um,
002 EMOS, I am using the enterprise switches, both in our Jacksonville office and in the data center, and they're amazing. Um, they're expensive in just general terms, but they're super inexpensive for what they are. So it's hard to call something that's $2,000 or $3,000 inexpensive. But they're amazing. At my office, I was just talking about doing the all cameras compared. I have got those little I'm gonna butcher the name of them. Uh, what are they? The Flex 8 PoEs? No, Flex
Flex
2.5.
2.5 Gs.
Yeah, and I power those off of the enterprise uh, the enterprise campus 48 PoE, and because they're plus plus plus, and so I have a workbox on the roof with eight ports going to it, with just no power, just one Ethernet cable going to it, and I've got one on the workbench, and I've got one that's going to go in the front of the building. Um, they are amazing. Basically, my whole Jacksonville office is working off of the enterprise campus 48 PoEs, and they're amazing. Now, I mean, what are they? They're $3,500 switch. So, um, but man, the cool thing about it is every port does. You're spending the money for it, but they're amazing.
Yeah, they're definitely a piece of kit. That's for sure. It's not something. Well, there are people that probably do run them in their house, but it's not something that you're going to see very ordinary. Not like some of the other switches where you might see it. But if you are doing some serious work with it, then yeah, they are quite a piece of kit.
Yep.
Um, I
And
do
for most
have.
people, yeah,
Sorry, go
you
on.
don't need it. Yeah, for most people, you don't need all
Yeah. So I've got someone asking, do you have any information on whether Unified plans to implement call queuing in Unified Talk? So Unified Talk has been a little bit quiet on this side. There has been a few updates we don't really get any insight as to what's coming with this sort of stuff. Yeah, so I probably couldn't give you too much on the Unified Talk side. I know those feature sets are still being built out, and there's probably a lot more coming, because obviously it's there, but it's not. I don't think it's fully there, ready for prime time just yet. So I think they're still building out some of the feature sets, and for your smaller deployments, possibly maybe something slightly larger, but yeah, I think the kind of Unified Talk side, there's still a bit of work to be done on that side.
Yeah, I'm not a Unified Talk guy, so Cody's the guy here.
Cody's the guy for the questions that
Yeah.
for Unified Talk.
Yeah.
There was one other question that I saw. I have a few questions asking about the new UDMs incoming. So for those that know how to do a bit of Googling, you obviously would have seen stuff around on the internet about what happened in Miami and what was mentioned. So, I mean, there's obviously not so much that we can say on that just yet. We don't know when they're coming. We haven't been told anything specific around them. But yeah, just watch this space, I guess, is all I can say in that area. I just don't know what and when. We wouldn't be able to commit to any timelines.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see. Are you more of a stable connection, Jesse?
Yeah, I gave up and went inside. How does this sound?
There's
It's
a
a
bit
little
of
bit
background
background
noise.
but you're good.
Yeah. But other than that, I
Background
think
noise is
we're
the
good.
problem. There's going to be crying kids here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dad
that's,
life.
I'm sure
Hey, speaking of
they
speaking of which, you know that whole travel router thing, you know that kind of blew up. Everybody got a little bit upset about that travel router thing. But I thought Jesse, I thought you had the best. Um, First of all, I loved your review, and second of all, you know we're all friends and we're talking, and we knew that you were going on a long international flight from uh, a long, long way with your children, and you used the UTR on that flight, which was like the day it came out, right? So we had the little inside baseball. We all had the UTR a few days before it went live, and we were all testing it together and playing with it, and texting each other and saying this and that and the other. But Jesse was the first person of all of us that really used it in the wild on an airplane with his children, uh, flying from California to Israel. Which if you don't know, that is um, well, there's a special place for in heaven for anybody that can go on that flight with children. And so uh, Jesse was able to get on the airplane and just make that all work. And we're like, he's chatting with us from the air, and we're like, it was really killer. Um, can you
Paid
expand
Wi-Fi, no
upon that?
less.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just really, really good timing. I had been planning that trip for a long time, and then I got on the plane, and I was like, hey, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Paid Wi-Fi, we'll see, and we was able to connect it up. And each seat, because it's such a long flight, each seat has power, so I didn't even have to use any of my batteries. I just plugged it into the seat power, and I was able to, through my phone, connect to the landing page for the airline Wi-Fi, buy a single Wi-Fi pass, and then be able to distribute it to my 7 other devices. And it worked great. I mean, it was buried under the seat, so the range wasn't as good as it could have been, but nobody complained. And I wasn't doing any kind of video streaming really on it, but I was able to keep communicating everybody, all their devices at the same time. We're able to use a single connection. And now some people brought up the fact that yes, if you have a single connection, you're going to get throttled to the speed of just that connection. And some, or most, I imagine all airlines are probably throttling down per device, because that's the smart thing to do, especially those who don't have Starlink powering the internet on their planes, because they really don't have the bandwidth for it. But even with just that setup, it still works just fine.
It's awesome.
And I think, yeah, I think speaking of that, I mean, it did get a lot of stick, like you said, when it first got released. I mean, there was a few features, yes, that weren't there from day one, which a lot of people probably complained about. But I mean, Ubiquiti are quite swift in their firmware updates. Within a week or so, we saw the WireGuard update. We saw the.
That's right.
I didn't think that the boot time was a bit of an issue, but that was just my testing. I mean, maybe I'm a bit more patient than other people, but obviously some people weren't very happy with the boot time, so they seem to have put something in that. I mean, they've been fairly swift in terms of what they were doing. I know they definitely wanted to get this out quite quickly, or it looks like they wanted to get this out quite quickly, I should say. So, but it's turning into a good product. People need to realize the price point of this as well, right? And it's $79. It's not going to be, I think, they're good. They're good competitor brand just to release something new, and that's out for pre-order now. So that's the Wi-Fi 7 mobile version, and I don't doubt this is the first of their lineup. I don't know for sure, and don't take this as my speculation. And I think you guys will agree. This probably is the first of a few more products that will come out. We might see some more travel routers coming later this year with 5G or whatever it might be, whatever battery pack, whatever you need with it. So it's possible that there will be more coming. And yeah, I think that would be that'd be my take on it anyway.
Yeah, 100%. I think, and I did that. There was a lot of negativity in a couple of Discord rooms about that release, and I did a video on just they were calling everybody shills and saying that stuff was, you know, just we're all just positive about it. I think we're pretty good. First of all, we can cover the shill thing if we want to in a minute, but we're pretty good at calling balls and strikes. And I think the reason that you saw a lot of people drop videos on that at the same time, and that they were all pretty positive, is yes, we would all like to have 48 port enterprise switches in our office, but we also know what's going to sell. And a $79 travel router that's the size of a deck of cards that Jesse, could give to his mother flying, across country, and that she could just turn it on and make it work. Yes, it's not the Wi-Fi 7. Yes, it doesn't have LTE built in. Yes, it doesn't have a battery. Yes, 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 yes. We're not looking at those things. We're just looking at going, people are going to like this and they are going to buy this. And if you are looking to put this in your pocket and take it with you on your trip, and when you get to the Marriott at night, fire it up and be able to watch your Plex server and get on to all your files back at home with a click of a button, just seamlessly, you're gonna love it. And so I think Unify or Ubiquiti is really good at
Is that?
knowing
I
what their
think
target
your
market
sorry, Clay. I think your sound has gone a bit roboty or a
Yeah,
bit
I hear it on
darky.
my end also.
is. Sorry about that. I
That's all
think they're
right.
pretty good at
That's
predicting
better.
that, and it was good. And we knew it was a good product, and so we all wanted to get our stuff out.
And I think you kind of nailed it, put the nail in the coffin there when you said like Jesse can just give it to his mom, and you have people coming out saying, well, I can't configure this, I can't go into a web interface, I can't do split tunneling, and I'm like, this is Unify's ethos, right? Making things simple, making things easy. They don't want you to be able to tinker with everything changing. If you want to do that, go fine, get yourself another product that will do that for you. But if you don't, it's a case of just keeping things simple. I can plug it in, it connects to my house. I have a G6 Instant with me. Great, I can record my room, and it's just one of those. It's just one of those things. I've always been I like to think I've always been a half glass half full kind of guy, if I can get my words out. But I don't tend to spin everything off into a negative. That's just the way I am, and that's why there's a range of reviewers. Other people will look at it saying, okay, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have this. But I'm not that kind of person. I'm more of a, oh look, it has this or it has this. I can do this. I can do that. So yeah, it's that's I guess that's why there's a whole variety of different content creators, I guess.
Yep.
And to Clay's point, I literally just bought one for my in-laws. So
Yeesh.
yes, 100%. And I'm with you, Monty. I'm also the type of reviewer. I review what's in front of me, not what's promised or could be. And I am genuinely excited about it because I love the space and I love tech. There are some times where, like, sure, I'll be disappointed in something and I'll say so, but I'm not going to dump all over the product because they didn't make it everything I dreamed of. They know what they're doing, or they think they know what they're doing, or, somebody wants to try something new, and so they put this thing out, and it is what it is. That's the release, and we can criticize them, sure. If something generally doesn't work, we usually talk about it. So, to each their own, though. Subscribe or don't subscribe.
Yep.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
said in my video, and this is probably shame on me, is I'm busy. If something's not good, I'm not doing like I'm not reviewing a piece of junk. I'm just not going to do it, and it's not just for Ubiquiti. It's for anything that I review. If it's not cool, what do I don't want to trash somebody. And if it's a Ubiquiti product that I just don't have any interest in, I didn't do the UTR because I didn't have a use case for it right then, and I didn't want to just drop something on it. So for me, there's not for all of us. There's not enough time in the day to review everything. So we're only going to review the good stuff. That's just the if something drops and nobody does a review on it, that typically to me speaks louder than if something drops and 40 people do reviews on it, that means it's good stuff. Like everybody was chomping at the bit to get to it. But if it drops and nobody does it, it means A, it's either super niche, B, it's super expensive, or C, we didn't really like it. That's just my
I would
take
say,
on it.
or D, give it a day or two because sometimes we only get things last second, and
Yes, that's
not
correct.
all of
That's
us.
correct.
I
That's correct.
generally can turn around the same day, but it's not easy, and
That's
most
correct.
people, don't have that freedom or
Yeah,
the time to be able to do that.
I cannot turn around the same day. Yeah. So
Yeah, those that you do see them now and again, and you'll probably see when things come out, or when you see all most of us are releasing stuff at the same time. We've probably had it for a little bit, but when you see them coming out a little bit sporadically, it's a case of maybe okay, we probably only just got them, so we're getting round to recording them.
yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely that was definitely a hot topic. I'm just looking at a question. Sorry, I got sidetracked with a question.
I'm getting a lot of like fabrics and MSP stuff, and maybe what we should do going forward with these. I mean, we'll continue to do these. Is maybe go, hey, we're going to go enterprise on this one, or hey, let's talk about access on this one, or let's talk about protect on this one, because the three of us, the four of us we can chat all day on a bunch of different things, and we'll meander all over the place. I would like to jump into fabrics and stuff, but that's a pretty big topic, and it's going to take a bit of time to do it. And honestly, you haven't seen me do a fabrics video yet because that was stage one of fabric. There are going to be more and more fabrics coming out, and I think I wanted it to be a little bit mature because I'll do one that's a little bit more towards the MSP space. I'm getting a lot of questions about provisioning and uh, the no touch provisioning and the having policy rules tables that you're able to apply, per site, having default policy rules, and that kind of stuff. That's stuff that is in the pipeline for fabrics, and I'm just waiting for fabrics to. I absolutely. Don't take me not doing a fabrics video at this point as I'm not super excited about it. I'm just waiting for it so I can do a more um, robust video on it for the MSP space. And it's coming, and it's not coming in like years. It's coming in the next months. It's really cool what they've got planned.
Yeah, and I think
That'll
they
be a
were.
Clay DPC 45-minute video.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'll do a Monty special.
That's it. An hour and 45 minutes on network, unified network. That was a long video to edit. That was interesting, that one.
I love your long videos. See, I love Cody's long video because if you really just want to dive in and get into it, you can't do it in a 10-minute video. Like the
No.
stuff we're covering, and I said this in my shill review video is like there are two different reviews. There's a embargo review, which is when you see the 45 people drop at once, and it's cool. You get to see us opening a box and showing the basics of it. But to watch a Monty video where he's mounting 9 cameras and spending 5 days doing it, or he's going deep into, or Cody, or Jesse for that matter, that you're really, really diving into something, those take time, and then you're not going to see that in embargo because we're just getting the latest firmware, and obviously Monty can't do it on a firmware that's not out yet, so he's got to wait for the latest firmware to be done. Like you just can't drop those at embargo. But I really enjoy those because if you really want to get into the nuts and bolts of what makes network 10 awesome, or net 10.1 or whatever we're on today awesome, it takes an hour to go into it all.
And as much as we all would want to be able to drop everything and just do it do Ubiquiti videos. We do have we do have other jobs and families as well.
We do.
So as much as we would love to, we try and get stuff out as quick as we can. But I know there's some people that have been asking me for a few things for a little while. I have the new G6 enhancer. I know I've been waiting to test with that one, the G6 Pro Bullet enhancer. There was one with like the turret comparison. I've been waiting to do that one. It's just they just take time, unfortunately. And with the weather being in England the way it is at the moment, I think the next 10 days is literally raining every day. So
Yeah.
you can't really test that much in when it's raining outside.
I got a question. Why don't we do the drop test? There is one thing in our in our agreement with them, and I went through that in my video. You can take a look at it if you want to. But and I didn't mention this particular thing. Was they don't want us taking the stuff apart or destroying the stuff, or they want us to show it in a good light. So you're not going to get a jerry rig everything where we're taking razors to stuff, or Mr. Beast where we're throwing it off of a skyscraper, or taking it apart. And we can do all those things, but we can't do it on new release stuff. So there's a time frame there. I think it's 2 months where we're not allowed to do the things and we need to submit it to them for review before we put it out. But after that, then we could throw it off a balcony and break it and open it and do all that stuff. But honestly, to tell you the truth, it's not all that exciting inside of these devices.
And I think there has to be some element of enjoyment in that. For me, I mean, I know some people like tearing down products and looking at what's under the hood. For me, that's not really my thing. I wouldn't mind. I mean, if people really wanted to see it open, I mean, there's people out there that do it anyway. They can go and look at it, but that part doesn't really interest me too much, so I don't really do it. If I had a lot of requests, maybe I might start doing it and having a look at it. But yeah, it's not something that really interests me as such.
Yeah.
There is one, I guess, going back to the topic of the UTR. So Vassal mentioned with the release of the UTR, they don't need to make a dash cam anymore because people are making dash cams out of the UTR. So they're plugging in the G6 Instant, they're plugging it into a mobile app,
Nice.
into their mobile, their phones, and then they're just creating a dash cam off it. I didn't realize until I started reading stuff about this, I didn't realize how many people actually wanted a dash cam, a unified dash cam. It's like, it's actually insane. Like how many people actually want this.
I used to be heavily in the Wise smart home space, and their cheap cameras on the consumer side, and everybody, like every day, was constantly, every stream they did, asking and begging for a what do you call it, a drive camera.
That's crazy. I've not gotten that request.
Yeah, it's just I guess, I mean, for me, I don't see it, but yeah, some people definitely want that. I've got another question asking about high availability on other switches. So if you're talking about MC lag, that is currently exclusive to the enterprise range. You can't set up MC lag on the other switches. I don't know if that plans to change in the future, or if there is anything that's going to be coming in the future that might change that. As far as I'm aware at the moment, and I'm sure the other guys are probably the same, I don't think that's planning to change anytime soon. But yeah, that's unfortunately just for the enterprise range only. I don't know if you've got any questions that you wanna have a look at, Clay. I think I had one more that I wanted to look at.
None that are short topics. People trying to.
There's one here that says, is there a replacement for the enterprise access hub in the works? Again, I think Cody's your guy for all things access anyway.
What was the question? I didn't hear it there. I was reading
is there a replacement for the enterprise access hub in the works? So the big 8-port, I guess, enterprise hub.
I wouldn't think so. That's not that old. That's only...
It's probably about a year, 18 months old.
Yeah.
I think some people...
Cody's putting one in right now as we speak. And
yeah, he is. Yeah.
People are pretty happy with that.
Yeah, and it does. I mean, it does what it's supposed to, right? So it's one of those things. You've got multiple doors. You've got the 24 volt battery backup. So it's just one of those things. I think I literally just saw the time now. We have been going for an hour. So if there is anything pressing, throw it in the chat window. We'll probably, if you guys are all right, we'll stick around for a few more minutes and then we can wrap things up.
Cool.
So we will try and do one of these. We will try and do these. I wouldn't say more regularly because obviously trying to coordinate everybody's time is, especially me. I'm the most fussy one out of all of us, I guess. Being in this time zone. So it's either late for me or really first thing in the morning for me. But yeah, I don't fancy waking up at 4 a.m. to do a live stream. It's not something that excites me as such. But yeah, it's one of those things that we'll try and at least do one once a quarter. I think that's something a
Yep.
good target. So maybe we'll have a few more products to talk about when we come back next time.
Yep.
Hopefully with a better internet
Somebody
connection.
was just asking me if we could have Lars on. I was like, I'd love to have Lars on, but he's the exact opposite. So he's 12 hours opposing me. So he would have to be on at 3 a.m. or so getting that worked out. Although I know he does go to Europe every once in a while. So maybe at some point we'll get Lars to come on here. We're all friends with him.
Yeah,
So
that would be quite cool. And if you guys haven't been to his channel recently, obviously
yeah,
he's been through a little bit of a misfortune. So feel free to
a
check
little
out his
bit.
channel. And yeah, I mean he's got a GoFundMe page and everything. So yeah, I think he's definitely got his hands full on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
if
was
you're
gonna
not
say he's got
subscribed to
other
Lars, you
priorities.
should be. Anyways, he's amazing. His storytelling is great, and his tech is great. And I did see somebody just asked me, "Do you think Unify will ever make a thermal camera?" And I did see that video that somebody posted today, which was really good about doing a hike vision thermal camera with an AI key. Um, and the only problem was the thermal stream for detections. It has a live stream of real video, and then it has the thermal overlay. And the thermal stream is a lower it's a lower quality. So let's just say the stream was 1240 by 1080, whatever. The live stream's 1080p. Well, the thermal is 720p. And so the thermal doesn't get past the AI key. The actual visual stream does. So he couldn't get it to do detections with the thermal camera. Really cool, because thermal would be a great addition to have, if you have a piece of industrial equipment that's going to overheat, or if you really want true dark, see a perpetrator in the dark, thermal is going to be your best option there. And then maybe have that trigger some other cameras to take a look at it. I thought it was a really cool video, really cool idea. I have not heard of Ubiquiti ever doing a thermal camera, but I had the same idea there when I saw that, of like, wow, that would be really cool. Hey, the
Yeah, I
hookup
think
asked.
a thermal camera is one of those things that I would like to think it has its place. Obviously, in what area you would probably use this in, so it has its place. Do I, in my personal opinion, do I think Ubiquiti would bring it to their lineup? I would like to think so at some point. They would bring something like that. I don't think it's probably at the top of their list because I don't think it's the one camera that will sell very.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
but you know
actually.
what?
Maybe it might sell quickly, but initially, but I don't think it's one that at the top of their priority list at this point.
But we have an AI DSLR, and that hasn't stopped them from doing very very niche cameras. The hookup asked me a question, and I don't know the answer to this, but he said, I recently set up a hub and spoke site to site and a couple of routing rules to be able to let my family in another state share Netflix and YouTube. Not that he's doing that. This is just a test environment without the nag. Any reason no one has covered? Um, no, and actually, I do that. I do that when I'm in Colorado, just because I want to be back here. And it's really easy to do. It's just with one click VPN. It's super easy to do. I haven't seen anybody else do a video on it because I don't know why.
I don't
I
know if
haven't
it
done it.
would. It probably. I mean, there probably might be some legal implication in there because you're kind of telling people to.
Yeah,
I don't think you want Netflix on your case with a lawsuit. But
yeah. It's true.
It's quite
It's true.
easy to do. I mean, you could kind of lead the horse to the water kind of thing, saying this is how you set up a route through your
Yeah.
mesh. But obviously, you can't tell them to drink the water.
I mean, I
But
say
yeah,
I'm doing it when I'm doing it there, but I don't. I don't like. It's just part of a video. I don't know. And if you guys aren't subscribed to the Hookup, you should subscribe to his channel. He's awesome. He does some of the best reviews. He's crazy. He buys every bit of whatever tech he's doing. He spends bazillions of dollars on vacuums and projectors and cameras and everything, and does some really really thorough testing. So subscribe to his channel if you're not already. I don't know why nobody's done that video. Maybe it's one for the queue.
yeah, it would. It definitely that video would definitely do well, for sure. But it's just, yeah. For me, I wouldn't know the legal implications of it, and yeah, it's like I remember someone. I can't remember who told me. There was someone telling me about doing a video on Pi-hole, and there's some. I don't think YouTube like it that much, obviously,
Yeah,
because you're
they also
taking.
do it in the HomeLab channels. You see very few people do the R stuff. The radar and HomeR and the pirating stuff. So, um,
Pretty
but
sure
yeah,
those are actively taken down. If it's about
yeah,
pirating or some of the Plex
yeah.
stuff, even that's about your own content has been taken down. So you got to be careful.
I got a question. If I wonder if they'll ever resurrect the Unify lighting or bigger floodlights. I hope they do. I would love to have a bigger floodlight. I love that that light came out when LEDs were just getting popular in the early 2020s, and I bet you they could do twice the work, and with the bigger PoE and plus switches. I would love to see some more lighting. That would be
I think the
really
amount
cool.
of people that have come to me on my stream saying, "Are they going to bring out a camera with a floodlight? Are they going to do this?" I mean, that floodlight. I think they realise that the floodlight is good, but it's obviously not the most powerful floodlight in the world.
Yeah,
And I think they realise that there is a market there. I just again, it's in terms of the priorities of their company. I don't think that's their number one at the moment.
yeah,
There's so much in that space that they can work on, but I think it's just there's focus elsewhere at this point. So they're just not going. They know that there's spaces to fill, but they just yeah, it's effort, right? It's where do you focus? It's like when I
yeah.
asked the question about the dream wall, as to what's gonna be the future of that one, and this was at the UWC. So Robert kind of said it was a good idea, but there's other priorities at the moment.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. And, their niche stuff is tough, and they also get beat up a little bit when they come out with the niche stuff, and people will beat them up. I am super excited to see the floodlight on the 180. I think the 180 really needs that floodlight. So, obviously it's just an add-on accessory, and it's not going to be the be-all end-all. But I do think that's one that I'm excited to get my hands on. I'm getting
Yeah,
a lot of questions about SuperLink and like home automation stuff, and without saying much there, I'd say watch this space. I think 2026 is the year that you're going to see a lot more um, Unify Ubiquiti stuff go into Home Assistant, and you're going to be pleasantly surprised with uh, their vision there. And meet up with Monty and go to WDC London, and maybe you'll see some more of that stuff.
yeah, I'm sure you will. You will see some stuff at UWC. So if you haven't signed up, events.ui.com, get yourself over there. I feel like this is a bit of a sales pitch, but it's not a sales pitch. It's a fun day out. Like if you want to geek out about Ubiquiti or you want to see what's happening, then it's definitely worth the event. And obviously, last year I don't think anybody knew well, I got to meet Jake, who's a former. Well, he's now got his own
LTT.
channel now, but yeah, he decided to make an appearance at the UWC. So you don't know who will be there this year.
Yep. And subscribe to his channel too. He's doing some really cool stuff. He's got a big Unify install he's doing right now as well. I'm excited to watch him do that. And he's also another great storyteller. He's wonderful. I mean, obviously, he learned a lot from the LTT crew, but his storytelling's amazing. I'm very jealous of his
Yeah, he's got a
ability.
really good on-camera presence.
Yeah,
He's,
he does. He
but
does.
yeah, I think we won't drag this out too much longer.
Sure.
We will probably call it a day there. So we will be back again soon, hopefully, and hopefully Cody will be able to join us next time. And yeah, who knows? Maybe we might be able to, once Lars gets settled down again, maybe we might be able to bring him across onto one of these as well. I don't know
Yeah.
how messy it will get when we start getting 5, 6, 7 people on here. We
I
might
know,
have to just turn it into a round table, I think.
Right. Well, we'll make it work.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us this evening, and yeah, we'll hopefully see you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you, everybody.